Hello and welcome to the Matchday vlog for another EFL Championship Sky Bet fixture as the Hornets take on Borough in the Championship Matchday number 7. Watford lost against QPR last week. A very frustrating game because we felt that we deserved more. The goal was correctly ruled out for offside. What an absolute screamer from Edu Kayembe. But unfortunately Watford too open at the back, and obviously for the offside it was Ismail Assar who, after the cross game came swinging in, Assar just tried to head it and tried to get involved and interfered with play. It didn't actually touch him, but he showed some kind of want to go for it, and then it bounces out and falls to Kayembe. But look, at the end of the day, that was one moment in the game. There were many moments where we lost that game, unfortunately. Defensively we just looked a little bit all over the ship, but attacking wise we looked much better. So we talk about the opening games of the season and say, yeah, our defence looked a lot better, but our attack was a bit slow and not very prolific. But all of a sudden those two things get reversed on Saturday, and it's a difficult game, this one. Although you look at the table and you think Middlesbrough are a team we should be beating based on their start to the season, they still have some good players. They got a win against QPR the other day, so that will give them confidence. And they've got a fantastic manager in Chris Wilder, who knows how to get teams out of this division, knows how to get his sides promoted, and it's got a very good system. That three at the back, it seems like players like Basham and Baldock have been there for ages, but the 3-5-2 is effective, and the wing backs push on and cause problems. So we have to be wary here against this Middlesbrough team, because they have got threats. They've definitely got threats. Duncan Watmore, experienced player. Britta Sombolonga, obviously no longer at Middlesbrough, but an ex-Watford player as well. And Duncan Watmore is going to be a threat. You've got people like Isaiah Jones, who is a great talent, a wing back, really pushes on. And then of course, in the front line, Middlesbrough are just one of those teams that they're not amazing and they don't absolutely rip you apart, but they're clever, and they've got clever footballers like Johnny Howson in the midfield. So we've got to be wary, and also we've got to focus on ourselves more. We've got to try and take the game more to Middlesbrough, because I felt that against QPR we started off very slowly, and ultimately the goal did come against the run of play, where we started to create some chances, and then that shot from Elias Chair just takes a wicked deflection off Francisco Ciarauta. But we had chances. We had Pedro hitting the crossbar, and obviously that late goal. So I think going ahead in this game is going to be important. We're going to need to get that first goal to really get the team going. But there's a lot of optimism. Obviously tonight is a big day because we are celebrating the centenary of Vicarage Road, 100 years at this famous, brilliant stadium, and what a carpet. But it's going to be a great occasion as well. We're going to be wearing the third kit tonight, even though it's a home game, but it's to commemorate the first ever Watford kit in the black and white, worn 100 years ago to this day. So it's very, very poignant. But I look at this game and think, where is it going to be won? Middlesbrough are very good in their transitions and on set pieces, so we've got to get that much better. Look at our delivery in recent games from corners. We've just not been even able to beat the first man. So we've got to be stronger in the air. You saw that game against Middlesbrough last time we were in the Championship at home to kick off the brand new season, and we win that with a Cathcart header from a corner. So he was dropped last week. Wonder whether he'll come back in. I was quite disappointed by Cabaselli on Saturday, as I was with Sarr, to be honest, because with all this talk with Ismaila about his move to Newcastle, his move to Leeds or Crystal Palace, and then João Pedro's possible move to Newcastle, you just worry about where is their head at. Are they going to really give their all for the badge? I mean, I thought Chowdhury did that on Saturday, and maybe second half he fell off a bit. But I honestly feel Ismail Assar, we've got to utilise him correctly. and at the minute he's just going missing in games. Maybe it's because defences are being wise and they're doubling up on him, they're stopping his threats, but if we're going to have him, we don't know if he's going to stay. The window shuts on Thursday, so let's see if we can strike a deal to keep one of Pedro or Sarr, but it's going to be tricky. It feels like he's so good when he's on form. It's just he has these moments and he doesn't, unfortunately, keep it cut up and keep consistent. But yeah, I've got a few Watford players in my fantasy team tonight. Hopefully they'll deliver the goods. I've got Daniel Backman in goal, Hassan Kamara in defence, and João Pedro. Didn't captain João Pedro, unfortunately. I went with someone else. I think it was John Swift from West Brom. They're playing Wigan this week, so I felt that was a better fixture to target. But Middlesbrough, as I say, they are quite low in the table. So on paper, you would look at this and think, Watford 7th in the league, one of the favourites to go up. They should be winning this, but it's never that easy in the Championship, never that straightforward, as we saw against QPR. So predictions for tonight, I don't know. It's one of those ones where in an ideal world we win to put behind the disappointment of Saturday, but we're just not in a good place right now. We're not really looking threatening enough. We scored those 2 goals against Queen's Park Rangers, but it wasn't a perfect performance, that's for sure. As much as we were, controlling quite a few periods of the game, we were controlling it, but we weren't controlling it with much quality. So Pedro scored and, was a good goal, just kind of kept on nibbling away at the QPR defence and kept going. But I just worry about how we're going to get goals going forward, because Raymond went off injured against QPR. He wasn't exactly pulling up trees. And Bio, the wait for his goal goes on, but we've still got Keenan Davis, where it's like, I don't know, is he gonna be ready in time? He's still supposedly ill, and I don't think we're going to bring in anyone else. So I'd like to see a Spria start tonight. I think he looked quite good when he came on against QPR, although he couldn't change it that much. I thought he looked quite sprightly, but certainly needs to be an improvement from our attacking point of view, because although we did score 2 against QPR, we still weren't great. But all I want to see tonight is a bit more of a settled system, because it felt like we had no protection in front of our back four on Saturday, and hopefully Kayembe and hopefully Chowdhury can not get overrun in that midfield, because with Loser out, we need someone to kind of govern that, especially when we're playing at home. We seem to give the opposition a lot of the ball, and that allows them to kind of break it through the lines and take it up the pitch, and that puts us under a lot of pressure, and an unnecessary pressure sometimes when we're playing around the back. So predicted lineup, I think Backman in goal. I think there's no disputing he's been one of our players, if not the player of the season so far. Come up with huge saves in all the games. I think we'll probably stick with a 4-2-3-1 at the minute. I'd like to see us play a back 3, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So we'll say at left back, probably going to be Ken Sema. Then a back 2 of Crispin Cabaselli and Francisco Sierralta. Then right back, Hassan Kamara. And then the midfield on the left hand side, I know I said Sema on the left just because I just don't rate Gaspar. So I don't like playing Kamara on the left and then Gaspar on the right. It just doesn't work for me. I think just play Kamara where he should be playing. I mean, we played Kamara on the left last season, but with Kiko gone, there's such a void to fill, and I think the only player that can fill that is Kamara, because I just don't think Gaspar is good enough, or at least he's not been good enough so far. He just doesn't look good, strong enough from an attacking point of view. Certainly he's not offering enough. So I'd like Sema there because he offers something going forward, and then maybe on the left hand side it's a bit of an interesting one. Not many people will agree with me, but maybe we put out on that left hand side a little bit of João Pedro. I wonder if he can do a job there, but let's see. Anyway, let's say Pedro there, and then the midfield 2 is Chowdhury and of course Kayembe. Hopefully he'll put the linesman to bed today and actually get a goal and not be ruled out. And then on the right hand side, for me, I think it makes sense to put there Ismaila Sarr, because I think that is just his best position. When he's playing as a second striker, it it seems dodgy. I mean, there were rumours apparently of Sarr, I heard the other day, of him possibly being injured for this game. If he is, then I guess we could throw any other player there, like a Spria, if he can try and do that. But for me, the front two is easy. It would have to be a front two of, well, I say have to be, but who else have we got? We've got Bio, we've got Davis, and that's about it. So if he's fit, it's going to be Davis and Bio, but it most likely will be Pedro and Bio, because I don't think Manai is going to be fit in time. So it's a very flexible structure. We could see Cleverley come back in, but I don't think he's going to recover from his injury. So that's what I'm going for, and I'm going for a 2-1. Yeah, I'll say 2-1. I'll try and not be optimistic, but I think that's, I don't think that's being overly optimistic, but it's just being realistic, hopefully. But we'll say goal scorers on the night: João Pedro, to opening the scoring. I think he was superb against QPR. Well, superb in the respect that he battled back and gave Watford a lifeline. But I just want to see him stay for sure. It's just he's so key for us, I think. So he gets the goal in 23 minutes. Then Watford get a second goal and race into a nice 2-goal buffer with a first championship goal and a first home goal scored for Hassan Kamara in the 58th minute. And then the attacking fullback for Middlesbrough, Isaiah Jones, gets the late consolation, but it's not enough to change the result. A Watford win with Jones getting that goal in the 81st minute. But what is your score prediction, very quickly?
1-0.
1-0. Very nice. Brief and sweet and short, but hopefully we can do that and get the victory. I don't know if we get a win tonight. I think we'll probably be in the top 5 or 6 maybe. I'm not quite sure what other results need to be, but it's always hectic with the midweek matches, and this is our first home one of the season. Let's go. Okay, stand up. Defensively. Come on, Asprilla. Whip it in like your dad. Oh no, he's not related. Don't worry. Okay, don't take another one. Vakumbayo, my lord. Vakumbayo. Has to be done because the voice is gone. Come on, you owns. That is how to celebrate 100 years at the Vic. It's finished Watford 2, Middlesbrough 1. You got to love a smash and grab in football sometimes. And I'll be fair to admit, that's exactly what it was. But I tell you what, after we went to 1-1, I thought we were the better team in the first half. And it was unfortunate that we went in level, but wow, what a victory, what a huge 3 points for the Golden Boys. And to be honest, it was a very lively game, but it's a really nice thing to see that from the Hornets. Character, fight, togetherness, and a hero, Vakumbayo, with his first Watford goal and his absolute limbs in the rookery. 93rd minute winner off the bench. You just love to see it. So, what a very interesting game this was. I mean, you've got to say, Watford, we were very, very, hyped about this game for a few reasons. Because it was, the centenary of the Vicarage Road being built and Watford playing in it. And obviously, we played in our black and white first ever kit. But also, the pre-match atmosphere was buzzing like a hornet. It was buzzing. Unbelievable pyrotechnics. Again, I mean, the last time we did that, the result itself was at a bit of a flat pancake against Norwich in the Premier League. And that was pretty much the lowest of the lows when we got relegated last season. But it was a bit of a dodgy start, though, I can't lie. I mean, the game started when it kicked off, and it was kind of like, oh, okay. I mean, we started with a slightly different formation today. I mean, it was kind of a 3-4-1-2 maybe, or a 3-1-4-2. But, we've been playing 4 at the back recently in a bit more of a 4-2-3-1. But we had back 3 today of Kabasele, Sierrata and Cathcart. And then Sema and Kamara were kind of encouraged to play more as the wing-backs, which, to be honest, was a good decision from Edwards to drop Gaspar, who I'm just not impressed with at the minute. He just doesn't look that equipped for the Championship at the moment. He will, of course, grow into his time at the Hornets, but at the minute he doesn't look ready. That's why I'm baffled about Ngakia, but he seems to be injured, or if not injured, maybe out of favour. I don't know. But ultimately, it was a decent starting 11. I was happy with it. We had Backman in goal, as you would expect. Kabasele, Sierrata, Cathcart, Kamara, Kayembe, Asprilla. Great to see him start because he really looked quite lively against QPR when he came on. Chowdhury, of course, Ken Sema, and then a front 2 of João Pedro and Ismail Assar. I mean, let's reflect back to that Sheffield United game, opening match of the season. You probably thought that, well, it was a miracle. You knew it was a miracle, those 3 starting on that night. But by the end of August, on the 30th, you probably didn't expect 2 of them to still be here. Now, of course, there is still time in the transfer window, but it shuts tomorrow at midnight. So, look, when it comes to it, we could lose both. It's not out of the realms of possibility, but let's hope not, because they were superb tonight, especially João Pedro. I thought was man of the match. Just the way he drives forward, the way he gets stuck in, and the creativity and the hard work he showed for that first goal was superb. And we looked good in our black and white kit tonight, but Newcastle, don't get any ideas. He's our man. We're having him, and we'll throw away the key. And just you've got your new Isaac. He's good enough, and that's enough for you. But yeah, in terms of that first goal, I mean, it was a really poor goal for Watford to concede. We just didn't really get going. The great atmosphere from before the game was kind of a bit flattened as soon as Watford kicked off. We just looked a bit static, and it was taking a while for us to really get going. And then, they weren't knocking on the door, I would say. I mean, it was a bit of a goal out of nowhere, but it was a very, very well worked goal. But as I say, a poor goal for Watford to concede, just really lapsing in concentration. I'm not sure what they were doing, because with Middlesbrough, they've got wing backs that push on. You've got people like Isaiah Jones, who's gonna cause problems, and very, very early on we just didn't wake up to that. I mean, it was a goal for Rodrigo Muniz, the signing from Fulham, and to be honest, it was far too easy. A ball goes to that left-hand side for Middlesbrough, down our right-hand side, and I've got to be honest, they got down the flanks way too easy down that side, and a ball comes to Ryan Giles. I mean, the cross is like, it evades everyone, and we're all static and we're all just watching, and it's really poor that we don't deal with it. But the fact is, it should never have got to the cross being able to be swung in, because there were too many Watford players that should have stopped it, and it was just, we let it far too easily through the cracks and through the lines. And it was a good header, close range, but really that shouldn't have been how Watford started the game. And so we really needed to show a reaction from that. And I've got to say, when that goal went in, there was a really great reaction from the Watford players, because it would have been easy to just fallen into our shell. But as soon as that goal went in, it seemed like the players, the crowd obviously helped. They, boxed them to get into shape and sharpen up. But just generally, the players looked much more in it and in the game. Watford having a few chances. There was that chance of Mauer that was just missing to the right after that corner kick. And then a few blocks from Watford. And then Watford started to grow into the game gradually. I mean, there was that chance for Sarr that was blocked, and some good build-up from the Hornets. And then Yasser Asprilla it's a really tough angle, but it's high and wide from that direct free kick. I mean, Watford, we don't have many good set-piece takers, but we started to win a few free kicks and get into the Middlesbrough half, and then it started getting a bit tasty. And oh my goodness me, what a fantastic goal for Watford to equalise. They kept plugging away, and they got their goal to equalise. And on 24 minutes, a fabulous piece of work from João Pedro. I mean, he just ran down the flank so well and controlled the ball, took it with him. He's such a great ball carrier, João Pedro. And he just did really well to get down the sides and muscle off any Middlesbrough players. And great ball into there. And the touch from Ismail Assar on the turn, he just cushions it into his path. Really nice touch. And then with his other foot, he absolutely sits down the Middlesbrough defender and, mugs him off, basically. It was a fantastic piece of skill from the Senegalese. And first home goal of the season for Ismail Assar. That was a really special goal. Just composure and trickery. And then a really good finish, because he didn't have a lot of space to aim for, but he got it right in that corner where, the goalie could not be reaching it. It was just perfectly placed. So really good goal from Watford, really good assist from João Pedro, and suddenly Watford really have a foothold in the game. And from then on, I thought we were the better side in the first half, creating some chances. That shot for Chowdhury missed, unfortunately, but Watford are starting to be a bit more adventurous in their attack. The chance for Ismail Assar was a great save, to be fair. That pass from Pedro, and it was just in the bottom right corner, but it was well dealt with. And then the second half starts to appear, starts to get closer. You kind of thought just before the half ended, just hold on, because there was a couple of moments towards the end of the first half where Watford gave away cheap free kicks, and we really do have to do less of that, because it can leave ourselves in trouble needlessly. But Watford defending them fairly well, and then just kind of to round off the half, there was that chance for Pedro, and it was again another good save in the bottom right corner after that pass from Chowdhury. So yeah, a few kind of chances from Watford in that first half, but the game ends that way in the first half. And I've got to say, it was fantastic at half time. The former Watford players and current Watford captain, of course, Tom Cleverley, talking at half time about being back at Watford and the history of the Vicarage Road Stadium. It was a fantastic night in general, and I thought Watford was really well conducted, and it was a class touch to see all these great legends back at the club. So really that really helped with the atmosphere, if it needed any help, which it of course didn't. So then Middlesbrough making an early sub with that injury to Johnny Howson. On comes Jike Steele. So it was a kind of a little change of formation from Middlesbrough there. And then Watford start to show a bit more energy, a bit more fight. And I've got to be honest, up to probably about 75 minutes, I thought Middlesbrough were not superb, but in terms of the chances they were creating, they were more clear-cut than ours. And we were slightly holding on through most phases of that second half. But that's sometimes what you've got to do to get victories. You can play well in periods. It's about taking those chances when they fall, and a few Middlesbrough chances did fall. Matt Crooks, with that effort, was blocked, and it was another attempt from Riley McGree, just misses to that left. So Middlesbrough having a few chances, and really Watford starting to struggle to kind of get a bit of rhythm back. But eventually Watford, they had a bit more of a go at it. There was another chance for Matt Crooks that missed to the left, so he missed a few good opportunities. And then that shot from Edu Kayembe was blocked again. And then Watford started to kind of lose their heads a little bit. There was a few bookings flying around, a yellow card for Ciarauta, and then it's got really nervy. I can't lie. Watford, that header for Matt Clark, I mean, that was a fantastic save from Daniel Bachmann. I mean, that's a key turning point in the game. It's a really good delivery from a free kick, and Watford defensively switch off. It's a free header for Matt Clark, and it's a very, very difficult chance to save, but Bachmann just positions himself so smartly, and it's a really, really great punch away. So yeah, it was a really important moment in the match to kind of just keep the tide and keep stem the tide for a little bit longer. Matt Crooks again having chances, and then Muniz with that effort again blocked. Watford though, around the 75th minute, starting to get a bit more confidence, maybe because of the way they're holding in, they're digging in, and they're looking a bit better going forward. And João Pedro has another attempt, but unfortunately it's not dealt with by Middlesbrough, but at the same time it's not going to really test the goalkeeper. And then on comes Isun Bayo, Vakun Isuf Bayo. Espria went off, who is a shame to see him go, but I thought he had an okay game today. Just tried to, influence things where he could. And I've got to say, his Watford career prior to this game was pretty awful, to put it lightly. We were hoping he wasn't going to turn into the next Andre Gray in terms of missing chances, and just really not looking sharp enough. He's certainly a threat. We knew that from his, profile as a player. He's a sort of player that wins headers, and he's a target man. But is he skillful? Will he score the goals? That was what we were doubting quite strongly. And with obviously today Manai out injured, we had very little options from the bench. Very little where you think around the 70th minute, what can we do to bring on someone and change the game and get a winner? Because it was that kind of game. It was very stop-starty, a lot of stoppages, and we just wondered, is this winner ever going to come? It looked at points in that second half like Middlesbrough might have been the more likely, but as I say, Bachmann, apart from that close range shot from Clark, not having to make too many saves, because a few Middlesbrough shots were blazed over, and that was including the chance from Ryan Giles. And then an injury for Watford. Bit of a shame really, because Ken Sema I thought was really good today, especially in that first half. Got down the flanks really well and put in a few good crosses. But he goes off with an injury. Hopefully it won't be too long lasting, because we had Sema and Kamara as the fullback today. I don't want to see Gaspar. I'm sorry, mate. You're just not really convincing me at the minute. But Gaspar came on, needs must. And then Watford also made another injury with an injury to Craig Cathcart. Another substitution made. And that was the moment for Courtney Hawes to make his debut. And I'm very happy with that signing. It's a good piece of business from the Hornets. And he looked very, very good. The former Villa defender. I mean, he looks, well stocked, very kind of strong, and actually very nimble, more than I thought. He has good kind of vision, and he knows how to release the ball and distribute it. So yeah, it looked really good when he came on for the 10 minutes or so that he got. And then Watford start to build some waves of pressure. Watford win a free kick, and that Pedro shot was unfortunately too high from that free kick. I mean, look, Pedro, that's a good effort from a free kick. It could have been a lot worse, but we haven't really had a good free kick taker since the days of, Alman Abdi and Daniel Terza. So yeah, hopefully we can get some more free kick goals. But Riley McGree, again, a chance for Middlesbrough that went begging, and I think when that chance for McGree went over, Watford got some belief from that, and Bio starting to get involved. That header was close, but just missed that right, and it was a good cross in from Hassan Kamara. And Watford then start winning more free kicks, put Borough under a bit more pressure, and then it starts getting the tide turning. And there was that moment where you think, oh, hello, this could be interesting. As the injury time opens up, we have 4 added minutes. You think, oh, really, 4? There's a lot of stoppages in the game. There should have been more. But you think maybe, just maybe, that might be enough time. But oh my goodness me, that shot from Muniz, 35 yards, and or even more than that probably. And that was an important save in that bottom right corner, because that was a heart and mouth moment. And then it happened. The shot from Gaspar was blocked, and then the goal from Bio. I mean, it was really timely. What a substitution from Rob Edwards. We needed a focal point. We were lacking that focal point up front, and Bio comes on, and close range, he puts it right-footed into the bottom left corner, and what a moment for the new signing. It was a game that probably, on the balance of it in the second half, you look at that first half, I think we were the better of the team. Second half, it was tight, but maybe Middlesbrough slightly better in terms of the chances they created. And they probably, based on the performance today, probably didn't deserve to lose that game. Probably more of a draw. So, you look at that and you think, QPR last week, we definitely didn't deserve to lose that game. And it was more of a draw. And today, probably more of a draw, but we win it. So, great character shown, great determination and digging in. And to go a goal down in, so early on, the first 4 minutes of the game, that shows character, that shows a lot of belief, but it also shows that we're not over till it's over. We're going to keep fighting and keep going, and yeah, what a great moment. Vakoum Bio with his first Watford goal, and well taken. It came off a slight nick of a Watford player, and it just kind of fell for him, and he showed great composure to slot it home, and great celebration as well, just sliding in front of the corner flag, and the Watford players bundle on, and what a way to celebrate 100 years at the Vic. So yeah, for me, I thought João Pedro man of the match. It was a great way to match the occasion, and a great victory that's put us up to 4th now, and we move ahead to the next match, of course, away at Rotherham on the weekend. I mean, that's not going to be an easy game. Rotherham have been recently quite good in terms of their form, and when you look at them, that's a kind of away trip that's not going to be, a walk in the park. They're sitting 8th. They're looking pretty strong, and let's hope that they can, the next couple of games just lose a bit of rhythm, because they've got Sunderland away tomorrow. Hopefully the Black Cats will give them a battering, but we shall see. But the main thing is, we dealt with ourselves tonight, and we got the victory, and some performances that really were standout. Backman, good save. Kamara, solid. Cabaselli, decent. Sierrata, I thought, made quite a lot of good headers. And, I'm happy to see that defence look a bit more solid with that back three, and I think Cathcart, most of the night, as captain, was much more assured. It felt much more secure, I think, with Cathcart back there than it was against QPR. Maybe that was, just a matter of confidence, but we just looked more assertive in the defence, I think. And then, yeah, great moment for Bio, and to do it in that kit, to do it in that occasion, can't ask much more than that. So, absolute limbs, come on you horns, and we go again against the Millers. We're the Hornets, and we're hoping for another 3 points.